Hey, what's up, guys? I decided to make another video, this time on Yu Yu Hakusho, the complete series. Um, I'm really excited to talk about this one because it's another anime from the 90s that I've heard about for a very long time, but I've never watched. And I got the first one on eBay for like 18 bucks a little while ago, and I haven't watched it. But I decided to watch it, and I've been really enjoying it. And I just finished it. Like, I know basically all the things I talk about, like, just, like, 10 minutes ago, whatever. But, so I just really wanted to talk about this. The show is something I really enjoyed. I also watched it dubbed, which I usually don't do, but I don't want to be, like, as, like, against dub as I used to be, I think, because I think there are some animes where the dub is better than the sub, better than the sub. And I feel like this might be one of those. I'm going to try to Google it from now on to see what people think before I decide to watch it. But I watched it dubbed. Very good voice acting. I really enjoyed it. Some of the jokes definitely like wouldn't have hit as hard if they didn't have like if you couldn't tell the way they were saying it and stuff like that. So it was good. Okay. Uh, so just getting into it, the premise was really interesting. I think that this show could have done with actually some filler, right? Now, I'm not talking about like fucking 30 episodes like Bleach. Like, nah, fuck that shit. But like, like 2, 3 episode arcs, one offs, whatever, just to get more of the group dynamic. Because that's probably one of my main complaints of the show, is there's not enough of that friendship dynamic except between Kuwabara and Yusuke, and then like these EA and Kurama. They like each are like friends with each other, but it like and they do care about each other, but it's like I would have liked to seen some more of that. The overall story was just really interesting to me. I was pleasantly like surprised um at the intro. That was pretty good. I usually don't like English openings, but the intro was very good, and it also used the same song throughout, just changing the visuals one time. Learn something from that, please, because these like people keep changing like a banger fucking songs like for their show into something new, and it's like it sucks. Most of the time it's not as good. Sometimes yeah, but most of the time no. So that I just wanted to mention that because I really enjoyed that song. The villains in the show were pretty interesting. I was a bit disappointed with them though. It just always felt like the villains weren't really villains. Like at the end, like after he kills Togoro, and he's like, you and Ram. I'm just gonna call her Ram until I remember what the fuck her name is. I just finished it, but whatever. Genkai, when Genkai's talking to him, he's like, you wanted this, didn't you? And that it's like he knows he has to atone for all this shit, whatever. And that was like, okay, that's interesting. I like that. But then they pull that shit again with Sensui, and I hated that. They had such an interesting plot with like, oh, the past spirit detective, da 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 da, and it was like, okay, I fuck with this, I love this, and then it's like, oh, he actually wasn't a bad guy all along, he just wanted to die. It was like, come on, dude. Like, that shit felt like ass, like 100%. Because I'm sitting there like, where are the villains, dude? And then the end. I really did enjoy the end. Those characters were good. I feel like they were setting them up as villains, and then like they immediately switched. Like they're like, oh, we're doing a tournament, and then they all became like, I don't know, like chill basically. But I didn't mind that. I liked that. I felt like the ending could have been rushed in that way, where like all these fights, we're going for like, I don't know how long the Dark Tournament is, but it's like at least, like, gotta be at least 20 episodes, right? And, you know, like the Dragon Ball Z style fighting where it's episodes upon episodes of, like not really super much happening, but you're not bored. That's something that's interesting to me. It's like you watch that and not much happens, but you're still like invested. But with these fights, like especially with how big they were, I did like that they were faster in that type of way, but also it just fell off because the rest of the show wasn't like that, right? So I just thought that was pretty interesting. The whole demon stuff with Ryzen, I really liked that last arc. I felt like for a little while, um, this happened like at the beginning of, not the beginning of each arc, but after the Dark Tournament, and then after they defeated. Well, actually, not after they defeated. Just between the Dark Tournament and the beginning of Shin, you know, Shinsui, his name. Where it ended up being that, like those guys, there were those three high school kids who also got psychic powers, and the whole house and like the thing with that, they just pissed me off. I hated that. I did, like, not like in a really like, oh fuck the show type of way, but just like I didn't like the characters, so it was extremely kind of like, ugh. It reminded me of what the fuck's their name? It reminded me of the three, what are they, spirits, demons, whatever, from Bleach. The ones that pretend to be villains against Ichigo, and the others entraps them in like a museum or something, and they have to, like, there's a whole puzzle. It's one of the filler arcs. It reminded me of that, but they ended up growing on me after that, so it was just that few episodes, and I just, that's what I'm not really trying to shit on it either, because I actually can't really think of like a moment where I was watching the show and I was just like tired of watching it, like I was with Tokyo Ghoul at some points. Throughout the entire show, I was like, okay, like even if I don't really fuck with this or I hate these people, whatever, I'm in. Like I'm still in. And I think I kind of needed that after that show, because like I said, I love Tokyo Ghoul, but it really kind of just burnt me out a little bit. So I'm glad I can watch something that like feels like it doesn't really dip in quality and it sticks around throughout. Talking about the main cast of characters, my favorite character is usually always the main one. So obviously it's Yusuke, but I love Kuwabara. He is great. Kuwabara is great. Also voiced by the guy who voices Vegeta, which I could tell about that. Like that's one of the reasons I don't like dubs. A lot of the time is because like you can tell they're the same voice actor, but I really liked him in this show. I thought he was really funny, a really good character. Him and Yusuke's relationship, like friendship, was so well done. And I just thought like everything about him, like he was a good guy. He was never like really, he was never a piece of shit. He lived by a code. He was there for Yusuke when Yusuke needed him, and it was just like that was probably my favorite relationship in the show. Besides, Yusuke and I'm forgetting her name. The love interest. But they also, I love that. I love shows that have romance like in it. I've mentioned this many times. I love romance, and I think a lot of the animes that don't focus on romance but have as like a B plot, like Keiko. That's her name, Keiko. Him and Keiko. It's always there. It's always there, but it's not always the main focus, right? But it's always in the back, and I think that's really a good way to do it in these type of shows, and I really enjoy that. And I would have preferred some more of them together. That last arc where he goes to Demon World was really good, and I enjoyed the way it ended. I did I did miss Kuwabara though, and and all them. Botam was gone for a bit, and so was I can't remember his name. The baby guy. Um, that was cool. Like that was cool, and it was like kind of sad. And I love the ending where they end up together. I would have preferred if he did propose to her like he said he was going to. That would have been really good. I really, really would have enjoyed that. I also really would have enjoyed a confirmation of Kuwabara and Yukina getting together, because Kuwabara just deserves it, dude. So that was pretty good. With the whole EA thing, I like EA. I felt like he was definitely the most detached from everyone in the group, even from Kurama, but not, not only him, just everyone. I felt like that was disappointing. That's probably the thing the most, where I want more of those group dynamics, which I mentioned earlier, but just like that, like where it's like, like we're friends, like we're boys, we're doing this shit, we're ride or die. And at some points they are, but it's like I wanted more of that stuff, especially like after the Dark Tournament, when he is just like, nah, I'm not gonna help you, da 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 da, like fuck you guys, basically, we're not friends. That was like annoying to me. But you get where he's coming from. I also really like getting his backstory. Honestly, you should have killed the motherfuckers, the ice apparitions in the in there. I mean, I'm sure there was some innocence roll, but you should have killed this kid. Like that was fucked up. Like he should have actually killed them all. And I love that Yukina's just like they deserve to die. Like I was like, okay, I fuck with Yukina. She was cool. That whole arc with that fucking, guy kidnapped her. I didn't know she was gonna be that big of a character in the beginning, and then that motherfucker dies. That like guy, he's the like fucking. That is like literally what you think of when you think of like the when you hear the ugly bastard tag. Is that motherfucker like all those lumps on his head and shit looks ridiculous. But I'm glad he died. That was nice. Um, I'm just trying to think of some other stuff here. With Yusuke being a part demon, I like how they explain that. It reminds me a lot of Bleach, where Ichigo, he's like somehow super powerful, even though he hasn't done this stuff that often. Hold up. Where he hasn't, fought for that long as a, I forget the technical term, but and he's just super powerful. And this show, I think I've heard like 1,000 Year War gives like more context to that, but this show does, where it's like, okay, yeah, Yusuke is this good because he had, demon blood from his ancestral father. I did end up really liking that reveal, and it made things like make complete sense. And it just like that last arc was really good, even if it was, a little too fast, done. But I really enjoyed that, and I think that might be my favorite arc besides the Dark Tournament. The Dark Tournament was just great in every aspect, like except Kuwabara kept getting his ass kicked. Like he did not have many moments where he was like the guy, like so I just like that. The complete ending where where Genkai's like, I want you to take over this house and you can protect the help guide demons into the living world and all that. And I thought that was really interesting, and I did really enjoy that. Um, I really like Genkai. Genkai should have had some more moments, especially with Yusuke, because I love their relationship. Like when she died, that was so well done that they brought her back, and I was like, okay, I didn't mind it, and they needed her for that next arc because a lot of this shit wouldn't have happened because she's the main one that knows everything. But I love the whole kind of like grandmother type thing, mother relationship she has with him. Yusuke's mother was a big disappointment in the show for me, especially in the beginning, episodes. She like after Yusuke dies, she's like crying, whatever, da 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 da, because Yusuke's dead, and she left Yusuke, even though she's a drunk, whatever. And they have her in the intro the entire time, like not the entire, she appears in the first version of the intro, and then like after a little bit, I can't even remember how long, but it's not long, she just disappears, and we do not hear from this bitch again. And it was like supposed to be like, oh, she's trying to change, like now that she realizes she could lose Yusuke, she's trying to be better, whatever. And then they just throw that out the window. It's like, well, fuck her, like. And then they bring in Kuwabara's sister as more of that kind of role for Kuwabara, that motherly role. And I love Kuwabara's sister, except for that stuff with the rich guy. I just felt like that was extremely rushed too, where it's like she's trying to save his life. The guy was nice to you a little bit, like it was kind of weird with that. And I thought the lighter was cool. The lighter, I've seen that lighter in real life. There's like a there's like a YouTube channel who shows off lighters, and I've seen it. And it was like the exact same one, so I thought that was pretty cool. But that was probably my only complaint, where it was like she was going after him. It's like, bro, this guy, like, and then it turns out, he's like this huge piece of shit, even though he did agree at the end to like die because he bet his life on the line. But that was probably my only complaint with her, was that. And trying to think of some other stuff here. Um, I can't off the top of my head. I did write a whole bunch of notes because I was. Okay. I wrote. Oh yeah, the teachers. There was the teachers in the beginning of the show. That's also some stuff. I feel like they set up some things that should have been bigger, and I don't mind where it went. It's not like I ended up being disappointed, but it just felt like they started something, they had an idea for something, and then they didn't go with it. Like the whole teachers, being pieces of shit and doing all that, and especially the guy who like cared about Yusuke before he died. Um, that one like teacher. I can't remember his name because he's barely in it. But they set him up as more like a father figure for Yusuke, and then they dump him on the ground, and he's gone. And then the douchebag teacher who hates Yusuke is like there a little bit. Even towards the end, he's there a little bit like, ah, fuck Yusuke, he's a bitch. Like, first of all, fuck you. But they just dropped that, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like they should have done a little bit more with them. Not like a huge thing, but they should have been there along with someone like Yukina or something like that. Like that much. Let's see. Okay. You. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm watching the show, and I don't know if this like really counts or anything because it doesn't have colors, but those white flashes that they do, I forget what fight it is. I think it's during the Dark Tournament, and then like throughout the rest of the show, they do these like huge white flashes that like I swear to God, like I don't know, like I said, because it's not color, I don't know if that can give you a seizure or not, but they should put a fucking warning because that shit is ridiculous. Like even if I like gives me a headache and I have to close my eyes because they keep doing these white flashes and it's like upsetting me. I did not like that. Um. Oh yeah, I wish we got some more training with Yusuke. Basically, he just like he'll go training and then he knows it. No, basically like he's training, doing this, da 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 da, da. And I'm like okay, but like something like Naruto or all that shit, they show the training and that's interesting, but they cut off a lot of that stuff. I guess like they just didn't know how to make it really interesting or show something like that. But um, I'm trying to see what else here. Yeah, I said, why did they make Kuwabara awake? That's in the Dark Tournament. Where he just gets his ass beat like 3 times, and they keep mentioning it, like his sister, like I hear this way, whatever. Uh, I'm trying to think. Yusuke's fight with Togoro was pretty good. Like I said, it was set up for a while, and I was really interested in that one. Yeah, I was really upset with the Shigeru, Shisui stuff where they ended up making him, not as much of a villain. That was a bit annoying to me, like I said, but yeah, like just the whole thing with Game Master, that shit was cool too. I'm just trying to like run through it all, but Game Master, that was cool where the guy like knew he was gonna die, so he said that like if he played the game, so he wouldn't let the kid use his territory to create the game, the Goblin King or whatever, and then because he's gonna die in sorry, and Kurama beats him anyway, and he dies. They backpedal on that, which I'm like, okay, whatever. But it like at that point, I was like, holy shit, that hit its hard. Like that's some shit. Like where I'm like, wow, you don't come back from that. Not Kuwabara, but just like Shisui. And then of course they make it sound like he knew the whole time that Gwenma was going to. There's a lot of people with K names in this show, and yeah, like would save the kid because he would feel guilty. So I was like, that was a bit disappointing. That's what I mean. At some points, it felt like they set something up, and it was like like with Genkai and Togoro. Togoro kills Genkai. It's this really emotional moment, and then she manages to come back, and that lessened it. And while I didn't mind that as much, what I did mind was the whole Shisui thing. Like that just felt like they set him up as this villain, and then they try to like redeem him, where it was like, oh, he's innocent because he has all these different personalities, so he's technically pure, and you know, like I said, he just wanted to die, so I guess he didn't want to open. He just wanted to open up Demon World to go there, which is like that just felt so weak. That was a big like thing where I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But I wasn't super complaining just because they went into the next arc, and I was like, "Okay, this is really interesting." But just that whole thing and how Yusuke's like, "Oh, I didn't defeat Shisui. My ancestor did. I'm gonna kick his ass, whatever." That annoyed me too because it was like, yeah, it should have been Spirit Detective against Spirit Detective. Like, even if that group had to join in to fight with them, still. I put the SDF sucks ass. Acts true. They do absolutely nothing and are bitches except for those last people who let Yusuke in to Demon World instead of killing him. And that one lady's like, "Oh, he doesn't look like a villain to me. He looks like a hero." And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, he is. He saved the world. What the fuck were you doing?" And how like the SDF could have easily just like fixed the hole, but Koenma didn't want like his father to have to clean it up. But it was like, if it was that easy, and you risked like all of human world and all this shit, the living world, I mean, just to like not have to get your father to do this shit was ridiculous. So, like, we'll have this sealed up in 2 days. It's like, what? Like, they make it such a big deal, and they're so weak. That was it too, where they're like talking like they're big shit. Oh, we're the best. We're the best. Da, 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 da. It's like, no, you're not. You ain't shit. Like, Kuwabara could beat your ass on his worst day. Like, and Kuwabara is not super weak, but like they make him look like it. Like I said, sometimes. Fucking what's her name? Oh, God damn it. I can't think of it, but okay. Oh, The Departure was a really good episode. Yeah. That was a good one with him and you know, oh my fucking god, I have her name, dude. I swear to god. It's gotta say it on back here. I can't see. No, I don't see it. But you know, his girlfriend. Um, that reminded me of the episode, which is like one of my favorite episodes in Bleach, where Orihime goes to the I don't know what is it. Is that the spirit world or whatever? Where she goes, where it's like you can talk to one person. She's like a ghost, whatever. Before the guy kidnaps her. That reminded me of that, and it was a very good episode with that emotional send off with Keiko. There we go. Keiko was really good. With like, I'll come back at this time and I'll marry you. Was really well done, and I really liked that. And I kind of appreciated that just that whole thing where it's like they are gonna end up together, and they did. But I felt like if you say something like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna propose," we should have seen it at least. Like, or at least have like at the end, they have like this scene where they're showing, like where they met up and they're standing there at the beach, and it's just like the waves crashing. It's like a still image, but the waves are crashing, and they're standing there, and the music's playing on the intro music, which slaps, like I said, and they should have put like there's like one of the endings where they show pictures. They should have done that of like Yusuke and them, getting together and all this shit and what happens. Um, maybe showing like in the future, like just a photo of him becoming the Demon King, stuff like that. Like showing, like, I don't know, like a time lapse, like something, throughout a lot of that stuff, because they set up a lot, like where it's like, oh, one day humans and demons will be able to coexist. It'll take a while, and it's like every three 3 years we'll fight in a tournament to see who becomes Demon King. So I just felt like I would have liked to see like his time to become king. That would have been cool. But at this point in the story, I do think it was the right choice not to become Demon King, just because he really didn't. I didn't know where it would take him at that point as a character. He just wasn't ready for that, and like I said, like he said, he had to go back for Keiko to be with Keiko, so it made sense that they did that. His ancestor was really interesting, but the lack of like they share like 5 minutes of screen time throughout the entire series, and it's kind of fucking ridiculous, like how they make him so important. I do appreciate how they say, where he's like, Yusuke's like, I didn't really know him that well, but all these people coming to his grave makes me realize I'm proud of him. He was a good man. I can call him my father. So I thought that was cool, because I was wondering if Yusuke was gonna have anything, like if his dad was gonna relate to anything in any way, or if it was gonna be like, Midoriya in My Hero Academia, and it was like Midoriya My Hero Academia, except he had this demon ancestor who's basically his father. Oh yeah. Okay. Uh, the guy who gave Hiei the eye. I'm forgetting the name. You know, the third eye. He gets his fucking head chopped off like from here, right? So his brain's cut in half. Like he, does that to him, and then he's in the not in the dark tournament, like fighting for the, to become king of Demon World. It's like, and not even a scar. There's like a little something here. I think it's like, one of his rings, like metal or whatever. But there's no, like, the dude cut his head open like that, like this, dude. I would like flying off. I thought that was so fucking ridiculous. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, nobody dies in this fucking show. So now I'm kind of getting, I guess, my grievances, but overall, I really enjoyed it. There are some pet peeves I have in general with some anime and stuff like that, where they don't kill anybody and they keep bringing them back, and it's like, like, uh, but anyway, I did really enjoy the show. I'm hoping, if anybody's watched other like 90s anime that I need to check out, let me know. I will one day have a review for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I've only ever watched Dragon Ball up to a little past the Namek Saga, where before Majin Buu. The last time I watched it, I got up to the episode with Krillin and his girlfriend. I know he doesn't end up with her, but the blue-haired girlfriend or whatever. So that's what I'm gonna check out. But if you know any other like good '90s anime, definitely let me know, because I just love that style. Um, and the music was great and everything, So I'll definitely try to check out some more. I don't know what else I'm going to review next, but it'll probably be some more anime. There's some stuff, I still have to watch the Heaven's Lost Property movies and stuff like that. Fist of the North Star. I appreciate those suggestions, by the way, for letting me know that. But they're definitely on my list. Just sometimes when I have to like when I commit to reviewing something, I get like kind of anxious about it for no reason. It's ridiculous, but yeah. But let me know. Otherwise, there's something like I haven't heard of. I'm really interested, like to open myself up to something new that I haven't heard of before. Um, but anyways, I bet you've seen Yu Yu Hakusho, but I'd also definitely recommend these sets. They're very nice, and you can get them for $32 at Walmart. Uh, this one, yeah, this one you have to get at Walmart. I couldn't really find it on eBay, but if you love physical media, I'd highly recommend these. Just as the complete series, a whole bunch of extras, but I don't really watch that many extras. But anyway, that's about it. Peace.